Chapter 906. The two fists collided, causing the air to tremble. Wang Yan's body trembled, and he took 3 steps back. Lu Ming also took 2 steps back. However, Lu Ming's arm was covered in a layer of purple flames. The terrifying flames were terrifyingly hot, and seemed to want to burn Lu Ming's arm to ashes. Even with the protection of the scales, Lu Ming felt a piercing pain. He activated the true dragon of combat arts, and 4 different wills exploded and gathered on his arm. There was a sizzling sound on his arm before the flames were extinguished. What a terrifying flame! Die! Wang Yan roared, and the flames on his body became even more terrifying. It was as if he had turned into a flaming man. Every strand of his hair was covered in flames. There was a dragon roar, and Lu Ming unleashed 2 waves of dragon power consecutively. Wang Yan was very strong. His cultivation had reached the spiritual sea realm, and was half a step into the spiritual embryo realm. His wills had also reached level 3. At the same time, his bloodline was at level 5 of the divine level. The bloodline martial techniques he had learned from his bloodline were also upper-class demigod martial techniques. It could be said that he was not much weaker than Lu Ming in terms of wills and martial techniques. As for his cultivation, it had increased by a large margin. Lu Ming's biggest advantage was his rich vital essence and dragon energy. After releasing 3 waves of dragon energy, Lu Ming was extremely powerful, and his strength seemed to be endless. Boom! Boom! He and Wang Yan engaged in a fierce battle. There were continuous explosions, and a terrifying storm of energy swept in all directions. For a moment, the two of them were evenly matched. In the distance, Di Feng was extremely shocked. When Lu Ming fought with him, it was obvious that he did not use his full strength. However, Lu Ming was able to fight with Wang Yan. Wang Yan was ranked 98 on the list of top 1,000 talents. Although he was only a few ranks higher than Di Feng, his strength was on a completely different level. Wang Yan was several times stronger than Di Feng, and could easily kill him. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of blows. Wang Yan was extremely shocked. Every punch of Lu Ming's seemed to contain infinite power. His body trembled and his vital energy and blood surged. If not for the fact that his flames were so terrifying that Lu Ming had to divert a portion of his energy to fend off his flames, he might not have been his match. Whoosh! A purple flame appeared above Wang Yan's head. It was similar to Wang Haoxian's pure purple heavenly fire, but it was many times more terrifying than Wang Haoxian's. 5 dazzling golden chakras flickered as Wang Yan performed bloodline fusion. Purple flames turned into a purple flame godly eagle that pounced at Lu Ming. Roar! With the dragon's roar, the 9 dragons' blood emerged. Lu Ming's body moved and merged with the 9 dragons' blood. Suddenly, he transformed into 9 dragons. With a long roar, he pounced on the purple divine eagle. He opened his mouth and roared. His devouring power burst out and enveloped the purple godly eagle. His huge dragon claws grabbed at the purple godly eagle. The purple godly eagle flapped its wings, and endless flames burst out. At the same time, it reached out its claws to grab the 9 dragons. Suddenly, a dragon and an eagle began to fight in the sky. In the distance, Di Feng was shocked to the extreme. How is this possible? Di Feng roared. During the battle in the 9 Dragons City, Lu Ming had released the 9 dragons' blood. At that time, the 9 dragons' blood was still in the form of a 5-clawed true dragon. Di Feng had seen it from afar. At that time, he was extremely shocked because he had also seen Lu Ming release the suppressing prison steel's bloodline. Lu Ming actually had 2 types of divine-grade bloodlines. Later on, he even saw with his own eyes that Lu Ming's bloodline in the form of a true dragon self-destructed his chakra. But now, not only had Huang Xiaolong's bloodline recovered, it had even reached the 4th level of the divine grade, and transformed into the legendary 9 dragons. All of this had shattered his understanding. Could it be that the martial emperor ancestor wants his bloodline? Di Feng's heart skipped a beat. Lu Ming had once shouted loudly in 9 Dragons City, saying that De, a martial emperor, merely wanted his bloodline. Could it be this kind of bloodline? Di Feng's heart was in turmoil. The battle between Lu Ming and Wang Yan was still evenly matched. Now that Lu Ming and martial emperor De were in the open, There was no need to hide the 9 dragons' bloodline. He should use it when he needed to. Hee, it's so lively here. At this moment a cold voice came from afar. A young man carrying an ancient coffin walked over. He was an expert from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Shi Xiao. Di Feng's eyes narrowed when he saw this person. Shi Xiao was ranked 96th on the list of top 1,000 talents, 2 ranks higher than Wang Yan. Shi Xiao, you've come at the right time. Let's work together to kill this person. Wang Yan's voice came from the Purple Eagle. Wang Yan, work together with you? Why? Why should I work together with you? Shi Xiao smiled coldly and stood to the side, watching with her arms crossed. Boom. After the 9 dragons and the eagle attacked, they retreated and stopped fighting. They looked at Shi Xiao with fear. Shi Xiao obviously wanted to watch from the sidelines and reap the benefits. Almost at the same time, Lu Ming and Wang Yan turned back into their human forms and stood with Shi Xiao on 3 sides. Hee, why did you stop fighting? Shi Xiao licked his lips and looked at them coldly. Lu Ming looked at Shi Xiao and frowned. He felt a dangerous aura from Shi Xiao. This person might be even more terrifying than Wang Yan. He thought of Shi Mo, who was ranked 102nd on the list of top 1,000 talents. Both of them carried an ancient coffin. Perhaps they practiced the same cultivation technique. Shi Xiao, do you want us to both be injured and then be killed by you? Wang Yan snorted. He was also wary of Shi Xiao. As such, all 3 sides were wary of each other and did not attack. Shi Xiao, Emperor Sky Divine Palace and Heavenly Corpse sect have always been enemies. Why don't we work together to kill Wang Yan? What do you think? Lu Ming suddenly said. Shi Xiao's eyes flashed, and he looked at Wang Yan coldly. Obviously he was tempted. Wang Yan was shocked. He could not take down Lu Ming alone. If Shi Xiao joined forces he would be in danger. Shi Xiao, Lu Ming is someone that Martial Emperor De wants to take down. If you work together with him, I'm afraid he will think that you are his accomplices. Wang Yan hurriedly said. Shi Xiao's eyes immediately showed a trace of fear. Although Heavenly Corpse sect and Emperor Sky Divine Palace were enemies, Heavenly Corpse sect's Corpse Emperor would naturally deal with Martial Emperor De. However, if Martial Emperor De really targeted him, even the Corpse Emperor would not be able to protect him. Haha, why would I work with him? You must be joking. Shi Xiao laughed and said, how about this? The demonic tree canyon is just ahead. Why don't we enter the canyon first? If there are treasures inside, we'll fight for them. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. It was not a good idea to continue the stalemate. If 1 or 2 geniuses from the top 100 of the list of top 1,000 talents came, Lu Ming would be at a disadvantage. As for Wang Yan, it would not be too late to kill him later. I have no objections, Wang Yan said. Then, the 3 of them and Di Feng returned to the canyon. However, they kept a distance from each other, and were wary of each other. What's so dangerous about this canyon? Why don't you go in? Chapter 907. There are hidden dangers in this canyon. A few of our men have already died inside. Di Feng secretly glanced at Lu Ming, killing intent flashing in his eyes, as he answered Wang Yan's question. Hidden dangers? Then send more men to test it out. You guys go. Wang Yan pointed at a few death warriors with long swords on their backs. These death warriors did not fear death at all. Hearing his words, they remained expressionless. 2 death warriors stepped forward, charging into the canyon. Within the canyon, there were clouds and mist surrounding it. Looking from afar, it was a blur. Xiao! Xiao! Right at this moment, something shot out from both sides of the canyon like lightning. Sword light flashed as 2 death warriors unsheathed their swords and slashed out beams of sword light. These death warriors all had decent battle power, reaching the peak of the 9th layer of the spiritual sea realm. They instantly shattered those things. Looks like tree roots. Wang Yan's eyes narrowed. Lu Ming's expression changed. The things that rushed out from both sides of the canyon did look like tree roots. Xiao! As the 2 death warriors pushed forward, more and more attacks came from both sides. The power was also getting stronger and denser. Gradually, the 2 death warriors could not hold on any longer, and were entangled by countless tree roots. Something similar to tree roots. It should be a plant-type life form. Let the Earth Death Warriors block it while we charge in together. Wang Yan said. Difeng nodded and waved his hand. A few death warriors with hammers on their backs charged in. Similar tentacle-like things stretched out. The death warrior with a sledgehammer on his back smashed the ground. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, a row of stone walls appeared on the ground, blocking the attacks of the tentacles. Charge! Right at this moment, Wang Yan, Difeng, Shi Xiao, and the others charged in. They are death warriors that have trained in the earth mentality. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. These death warriors with hammers on their backs were all death warriors that had trained in the earth mentality. This made Lu Ming's heart move. If he could devour their mentality runes, his earth mentality would definitely rise to another level. At that time, his cultivation would increase by another level. Lu Ming stepped forward and charged in as well. Xiao! Whoosh! The walls on both sides of the canyon seemed to have come alive. Things that looked like tentacles kept extending out from the walls. They were tough and sharp, constantly piercing towards them and entangling them. The Earth Death Warriors controlled the earth and blocked with stone walls. Difeng waved his hand. An endless sword chi poured out, severing those tentacles one by one. As for Wang Yan, with a wave of his hand, terrifying flames spread out and turned those tentacles into ashes. As for the corpse puppet, it was rather unique. It was as if it wasn't afraid of death and charged forward recklessly. It waved its hands and broke the tentacles that came into contact with it. This body, no, it's like a refined corpse. Lu Ming's gaze shifted. He felt that the corpse puppet's body was not like a human body, but more like a refined corpse. It was extremely terrifying. Whoosh! Several tentacles wrapped around Lu Ming, but were broken by Lu Ming with a wave of his hand. Bright red liquid flowed out of the tentacles, just like the roots of a tree. Lu Ming realized that these tentacles were similar to tree roots, but they seemed to be alive. The deeper they went, the more tree roots there were. However, with everyone working together, and with experts like Wang Yan, the corpse puppet, and Lu Ming, they were naturally fearless and pushed forward. Suddenly, the tree roots on both sides retracted. They had reached the end of the canyon. Roar! Roar! In front of them, a few huge figures blocked their path. They were a few huge demonic beasts, no ferocious beasts. In fact, there was no difference between demonic beasts and ferocious beasts. However, demonic beasts would come into contact with humans often, and would understand human language, and transform into human form. As for ferocious beasts, they were more primitive beasts and were more ferocious. They disdained to transform into human form, and kept their beast form. 3 of them appeared in front of them. They were ferocious beasts and emitted a powerful aura. The aura of a grade 7 first tier was equivalent to that of a spiritual embryo realm first tier. 3 grade 7 first tier ferocious beasts. How about we each take one? The corpse puppet looked at Wang Yan and Lu Ming. All right. Lu Ming nodded. That's fair. Wang Yan sneered and secretly transmitted his voice to Difeng. When we make our move later, you guys take the opportunity to rush in. There are probably treasures in this canyon. All right. Difeng replied telepathically. Kill. Suddenly, the corpse puppet and Lu Ming charged forward at the same time. The 3 ferocious beasts roared and charged towards them. Wang Yan also made his move. Each of them took on one beast. Lu Ming faced a ferocious beast that looked like a rat. Its body was completely black, and it was extremely fast. Its teeth, claws, and tail were all extremely powerful weapons. Swoosh! Swoosh! The rat's tail twitched like a soft whip cutting through the air, emitting a sharp whistling sound. Lu Ming took a step forward, and threw out a punch with a domineering aura. Bam! His fist landed on the rat's tail, and the tail almost exploded. The ferocious beast cried out in pain and clawed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw out another punch. At the same time, Wang Yan and the corpse puppet were also fighting with the other 2 ferocious beasts. Charge! Difeng took the opportunity and brought his people to rush in. The other weaker prodigies from Heavenly Corpse Sect and Sky Demon Valley also rushed in. Boom! Lu Ming's fist landed heavily on the rat's claw. The violent force exploded, and the rat screamed as it was sent flying. Swoosh! Lu Ming followed suit. A long spear appeared in his hand, and he thrust it out. With a poochie, the spear pierced through the rat's mouth and killed it. A first-tier 7th grade ferocious beast was easily killed by Lu Ming. Almost at the same time, Wang Yan and the corpse puppet also ended their battle and killed their respective beasts. Even though they had not entered the spirit embryo realm, their battle power was so strong that they could easily kill those at the first tier of spirit embryo realm. Even if they were facing those at the second tier of spirit embryo realm, they would not lose and could even win. At this moment, a few screams came from within the canyon. Wang Yan's expression changed and he hurriedly rushed in. Lu Ming sneered and rushed in as well. Inside the canyon was a rather large and spacious area. In front of them, a towering tree rose from the ground. It was very eye-catching. Di Feng and the rest were surrounded by a few ferocious beasts, and there were already a few corpses on the ground. There were a total of 6 demonic beasts, and each of them was at the first tier of 7th grade. However, the 3 of them, Lu Ming, Wang Yan and the Shi Hao, were attracted by the huge tree. On the tree, there were 10 bright red fruits that gave off a mysterious aura. Myriad fruit, that's the myriad fruit, Wang Yan shouted, his eyes filled with greed. Lu Ming was also shocked. It was the myriad fruit. Chapter 908. If he had a complete 2nd grade intent, he would have a high chance of breaking through to the 3rd grade after consuming the manifestation fruit. Once he reached the 3rd grade, he would be able to make great progress in his intent. It was a rare treasure that couldn't be found in the outside world, so Lin Yun didn't expect to see it here. I must get it, Lu Ming roared in his heart. The manifestation fruit was too important to him. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming soared into the sky and pounced towards the manifestation fruit. At the same time, Wang Yan and Shi Xiao also soared into the sky. Get lost. The manifestation fruit is mine, Wang Yan hollered. Flames surged as he threw 2 consecutive punches toward Lu Ming and the corpse puppet. As for the corpse puppet, it also launched 2 attacks toward Lu Ming and Wang Yan. They wanted to block each other and take the manifestation fruit for themselves. You're the ones who should get lost. Lu Ming circulated the suppressing hell martial art and threw out 2 punches, exchanging blows with Wang Yan and Shi Xiao. The 3 of them retreated at the same time. In the next moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and 2 huge puppets appeared, charging towards Wang Yan and Shi Xiao. The 2 puppets emitted a powerful aura. The 2 puppets were both in the 1st grade of the 7th grade. Lu Ming had bought this at the 100 Treasure Pavilion of the Talisman Puppet Sect before he participated in the Battle of Providence. He wanted to use it at critical moments. Given his current mental strength, it was more than enough to control the level 1 puppet. Damn it! It's a puppet. You're an inscriber. Wang Yan was infuriated as he unleashed a barrage of attacks towards the puppet. The corpse puppet did the same as it slashed towards the puppet. On the other hand, Lu Ming's figure flickered and appeared on the tree. With a wave of his hand, dozens of manifestation fruits were collected by Lu Ming. Don't even think about it. Shi Xiao, let's work together and kill Lu Ming. Wang Yan roared as his killing intent surged. Alright, let's work together. Shi Xiao's eyes were filled with killing intent. Lu Ming actually wanted to take the manifestation fruit for himself? How is that possible? Boom. Bang. The 2 Class 1 LV7 puppets couldn't stop Wang Yan and Shi Xiao for long. They were beaten until they were deformed and lost the ability to fight. However, this was enough. Lu Ming's figure flickered, rushing out of the canyon. Lu Ming was about to rush out. Stay here. At this moment, a huge figure rushed in from outside the canyon and let out a furious roar. A huge pitch-black fist was hurled at Lu Ming. This fist was about the size of a water tank. Before the fist arrived, the terrifying pressure brought by the fist made it difficult for Lu Ming to breathe. This was very sudden. Lu Ming wanted to dodge, but it was already too late. Lu Ming didn't even think about it and punched out. In this punch, Lu Ming had used his full strength, erupting with the strongest power of the suppressing hell heavenly art. He didn't care about the huge consumption of true essence, because this punch was a grave danger to him. Boom! Lu Ming's fist collided with the huge pitch-black fist. In an instant, Lu Ming felt an unimaginable force rushing towards him. His body flew back like a cannonball and crashed heavily into the tree. Boom! The tree exploded, and wood fragments flew everywhere. A burly figure appeared in front of everyone. It was a huge ape, about 10 meters tall. Its body was pitch black and shone with a metallic luster. This was the genius of the Sky Monster Valley. It possessed the bloodline of the ancient great ape, and was extremely powerful. It had definitely reached Class 7. It wasn't even Class 1 LV7. It was at least Class 1 LV7. Hand over the manifestation fruit. The giant ape roared furiously. It took a step forward, and charged toward Lu Ming. Its huge palm grabbed toward Lu Ming. Boom! Wood fragments flew everywhere. Lu Ming soared into the sky and waved his hand. A huge puppet blocked in front of the huge ape. Boom! The huge ape slapped the Class 1 LV7 puppet into pieces. However, this block gave Lu Ming a chance to catch his breath. With the 9 dragons sky-stomping step, Lu Ming rushed out of the valley. Stay here. Wang Yan and the corpse puppet acted at the same time. They blocked in front of Lu Ming and attacked Lu Ming with their strongest move. Behind him, the huge ape rushed over. Lu Ming's expression changed. He made a sharp turn and changed his direction, dashing toward the 5 to 6 beasts. The 5 or 6 beasts were chasing after Difeng and the rest. At this moment, Difeng was in a miserable state. Most of the people who came in had been killed by the 5 or 6 beasts. Only Difeng and 1 or 2 geniuses were still running for their lives. Seeing Lu Ming rushing towards him, Difeng was shocked and instinctively slashed out with his sword. Boom! Lu Ming punched out and destroyed Difeng's sword radiance. His fist landed on Difeng's chest. Difeng screamed as his body was thrown into the air. A beast caught him and tore him in half. Poor Difeng, a genius and 101st on the list of top 1,000 talents, had died in the claws of a beast. After tearing Difeng apart, the beast went berserk and pounced on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure changed, dodging the attacks of the ferocious beasts. The giant ape caught up with him from behind. It threw a huge punch, killing all the demonic beasts. Lu Ming used the 9 dragon sky-stomping step, and his body flashed. At the same time, he secretly released his devouring power, and devoured the blood essence of the corpses on the ground. At this moment, Lu Ming and the huge ape circled the area. Lu Ming then rushed towards the entrance of the valley. However, at the entrance of the valley, Wang Yan and Shi Xiao were blocking the way. Lu Ming, hand over the plenitude fruit, and I'll let you go. You're too greedy to take it all for yourself. Wang Yan sneered. That's right. The 3 of us can share the plenitude fruit equally. If we join forces, we might be able to fight this huge ape. Shi Xiao said. All of you must die. The giant ape let out an incomparably violent roar. Is that so? Lu Ming dashed straight toward Wang Yan and the corpse puppet. Don't even think about breaking through. Wang Yan and Shi Xiao joined forces and attacked. Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming stomped heavily on the ground. Suddenly, the ground of the valley was filled with rays of light and formations appeared. Although Lu Ming was running just now, he was not running randomly. With every step he took, he secretly set up inscriptions on the ground. He had purposely taken such a long detour to set up an extraordinary array formation. It was a level 7 array formation. Endless sword light rose and blasted towards the giant ape from all directions. The huge ape waved its iron fists and dispersed the rays of sword chi. However, there were even more rays of sword chi that shot towards the huge ape. For a moment, the huge ape was obstructed. Formation? When did you set up this formation? Wang Yan and Shi Xiao were extremely shocked. They did not realize that Lu Ming had set up a formation without them noticing. Kill! Lu Ming shouted coldly. He took a step forward, and a large formation appeared on the ground. A terrifying ray of sword light shot towards Wang Yan and Shi Xiao. Their faces changed. They could feel a terrifying aura from the ray of sword light. It was an aura that could kill them. They had already made their move. It was too late to retreat now. Chapter 909. However, after flying for some distance, these shattered flames actually gathered together and reformed into Wang Yan's appearance. However, his face was pale, without a trace of blood, and his body was covered with over a dozen sword wounds. Fresh blood flowed from them, a horrible sight to behold. Let's go! Wang Yan did not dare to stay any longer. He turned into a streak of fire and rushed out of the canyon. Compared to Wang Yan, the corpse puppet was in a worse state. Although he had used all his means, one of his arms was still chopped off. He screamed as he ran out of the canyon. Boom! Boom! Inside the canyon, the giant ape continued to clash with the array. This giant ape's strength was indeed shocking. Every time it punched out, a large amount of sword chi would be shattered. Even if there were a few sword chi that landed on the giant ape's body, it would only leave a shallow mark. This giant ape has at least 50% of the ancient great ape's bloodline. His body is extremely strong. This array won't be able to hold him for long. I'll leave first. There was a flash of thought in his mind. Lu Ming stepped into the void and left the place like a flash of light. As expected, not long after Lu Ming left, the array collapsed. The giant ape rushed out and let out a furious roar. Then it turned into a burly young man. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he roared, "Lu Ming, I'll kill you." After saying that, he rushed out of the canyon. Lu Ming unleashed the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, and his speed was extremely fast. After exiting the canyon, he randomly chose a direction and headed forward. Not long after, he traveled more than 100,000 miles and found a secluded mountain forest. He flew down and set up an array around him. Lu Ming began to refine the energy. Lu Ming had devoured the blood essence and energy of the geniuses, men of sacrifice, and even the demonic beasts who had died in the battle in the canyon. He circulated the 9 dragons' bloodline and refined them. The earth intent and wind intent are the most. The other intents are useless to me. Lu Ming's mind stirred. He got rid of those useless intents and turned the earth and wind intents into his own. Most of the earth intent and wind intent came from the death warriors. Those deaths worn with hammers on their backs cultivated the concept of earth, while those with long swords mostly cultivated the concept of wind. Lu Ming's concept of earth and concept of wind rose rapidly. Not long after, his concept of wind reached the limit, and he was only a step away from the 3rd level. As for the concept of earth, it had also reached the peak of the 2nd level of greater mastery. His intent realm was improving, and the quintessential essence and other energies were constantly being refined and transformed into quintessential essence. Lu Ming's cultivation began to rise, and soon, the aura on his body flourished greatly, breaking through to the 9th layer of the spiritual ocean tier in one go. And it was still rising, all the way to the peak stage of the 9th layer of the spiritual ocean tier before stopping. In one go, he had risen by 1 level. There are impurities in the true essence, and there are distracting thoughts in the intent domain. Suddenly Lu Ming frowned. He felt that his quintessential essence was somewhat impure, and his intent realm was also somewhat impure. When he circulated it, there was a hindrance. Although this hindrance was still very weak, there would definitely be a big problem in the long run. I know. Other people's quintessential essence and blood all have their own characteristics. I've refined them, but there are still remnants. It's even more so for the intent realm. Every intent realm comprehended has a distinct individual will. After I've refined it, there are still some remnants. This is very normal. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and found the problem. He thought of his earliest days, when he often relied on swallowing quintessential essence to raise his cultivation. Similarly, that would cause his cultivation foundation to be unstable, and he needed time to condense it. Later, when he used all his quintessential essence to raise his bloodline, and relied on swallowing spirit crystals and origin stones to raise his cultivation, he didn't have such concerns. Spirit crystals and origin stones were all born naturally, and were extremely pure. It seems that every time I advance, I'll have to stop and spend time to condense and purify my quintessential essence and intent realm to stabilize my foundation. Lu Ming pondered. Lu Ming naturally wouldn't give up on the heaven-defying ability of the 9 dragons' bloodline, just because of this small flaw. At most, he would just have to spend more time to stabilize it. Immediately, Lu Ming closed his eyes and began to condense his quintessential essence and polish his intent realm. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Lu Ming's quintessential essence and intent realm had once again become pure and condensed. There seems to be signs of a breakthrough in the intent realm of wind. With the purity of the intent realm, Lu Ming felt that the intent realm of wind seemed to have touched upon a mysterious realm. Immediately, Lu Ming continued to cultivate. Time passed day by day. In a canyon tens of thousands of miles away from Lu Ming, a shocking flame suddenly shot up into the sky. A figure appeared in the flame. This figure was Wang Yan. Ha ha! I've finally broken through to the spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming, the next time I see you will be the day you die. Wang Yan faced the sky and laughed loudly. His aura was extremely terrifying, and his eyes revealed a cold, murderous intent. Last time, after being injured by Lu Ming, not only did he recover from his injuries after 10 days, he even broke through to the spirit embryo realm in one go. His strength had skyrocketed. That Lu Ming will definitely go to some strange places nearby to seek opportunities. This place is the closest to the Double Moon Mountain. I'll head there and stop him halfway. Finishing his words, Wang Yan's figure flashed and disappeared without a trace. In a dark cave, corpse chi suddenly filled the air. The corpse puppet carried an ancient coffin and stepped out of the cave. Last time, his arm had been chopped off by Lu Ming using an array. However, what was shocking was that the corpse puppet's arm was completely intact, as if it had grown back. Furthermore, the aura on his body was extremely powerful. It was the aura of the spirit embryo realm. That Lu Ming will definitely go to some secret places to seek opportunities. This place is the closest to the Divine Bird Cliff. I'll go there to stop him. Finishing his words, the corpse puppet took a step forward and disappeared into the sky. At a place unknown distance away from Lu Ming, there was a majestic city. In the city, everyone was from the three-eyed god race. In a huge palace, some three-eyed god race members were discussing matters. These three-eyed god race members were all tall and sturdy and had strong auras. Another 20 years have passed. Another group of youngsters from the outside world have come to hunt our race. Damn it, they really treat our race as a test subject. At the top, a furious roar came from the mouth of a three-eyed god race member. Below, many three-eyed god race members trembled in fear and did not dare to speak. According to the ancient records in the outside world, our race ruled the world and humans were just food for our race. However, our ancestor was captured and brought here to become a test subject for the youngsters of the human race. I will not allow it. I will kill all of them and not leave a single one alive. Pass down my orders. Gather armies everywhere to hunt down those youngsters of the human race. Once they are found, kill without mercy. The three-eyed god race member at the top gave the order. Yes, below, the other three-eyed god race members received the order and left. Lu Ming naturally did not know all of this. He was still cultivating. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days passed. Lu Ming had been in seclusion for 20 days. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes and revealed a smile. His wind concept had successfully broken through to the 3rd level. This was the first step for Lu Ming to break through to the spirit embryo realm. 20 days have already passed. The next step is to continue searching for those mysterious places and look for opportunities to obtain more luck points. Chapter 9-10. With a thought, the Book of Destiny appeared. Lu Ming's luck points had increased to 2,500 points. This must have been due to the dozens of manifestation fruits he had obtained previously. It had increased by more than 2,000 points. This showed how amazing the luck points one could obtain from finding strange places and seizing opportunities were. With a thought, the Book of Destiny disappeared. Lu Ming took out the map he had obtained from the three-eyed divine tribe and started to look at it. Within a radius of 100,000 miles, only Double Moon Mountain and Divine Bird Cliff are strange. There might be treasures or opportunities there. Lu Ming looked at the map for a while before putting it away. I should go to Divine Bird Cliff first. Lu Ming randomly chose a place. According to the map, he soared into the air and flew toward the Divine Bird Cliff. It didn't take long for them to arrive at their destination. In front of them was a huge cliff that towered into the clouds. They could see it from afar. That was the Divine Bird Cliff. Just as Lu Ming was about to fly over, 2 powerful auras burst out from Divine Bird Cliff. Boom! With a roar, a figure rushed into the sky with a corpse aura. Corpse puppet has broken through to the spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming's expression changed. He immediately retracted his aura and landed in the forest below to watch from afar. At this moment, Corpse Puppet's face was filled with fear and looked a little embarrassed. Corpse Puppet, die. A domineering voice was heard. Demonic aura filled the sky as a young man in a black robe appeared in front of Corpse Puppet. This young man had a cold gaze and a strong demonic aura. His aura was much stronger than Corpse Puppet's in the spirit embryo realm. Luoli, don't go too far. Corpse Puppet roared. Luoli, little demon lord Luoli. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he looked grave. In the Imperial Sky Guards of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, there were two peerless geniuses who were brothers. Demon Lord Luotian and Little Demon Lord Luoli. Demon Lord Luotian was extremely talented and ranked 10th on the list of top 1,000 talents. While Little Demon Lord Luoli was slightly less talented, he was still very powerful and ranked 61st on the list of top 1,000 talents. Hahaha, what a joke. The weak can only say such words. So what if I bully you? Today you will die, and your luck points will belong to me. Luoli laughed. Black fog rolled around him, and his demonic aura was extremely strong. He stepped out, and his demonic aura completely enveloped the corpse puppet, forming a demonic territory. Charge! The corpse puppet did not dare to meet the attack head-on. Corpse chi burst out, forming a sword light, wanting to break through the demonic might and escape. Die! Luoli shouted coldly. A ray of black light shot out. The saber light seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. It was unstoppable. Puff! The corpse puppet could not even block a single strike. Its head was chopped off, and its corpse fell to the ground. However, the ancient coffin on the corpse puppet's back trembled and quickly flew into the distance. The human corpse transformation technique is useless against me. A cold voice emerged from Luoli's mouth. A blade light cut through the void and slashed at the ancient coffin. The ancient coffin exploded, and a skinny figure appeared from the coffin. It panicked and fled for its life. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. This was the true body of the corpse puppet. The one before was just his refined corpse. However, the refined corpse was no different from a human. It could speak and communicate with people. It was amazing. A blade light slashed at the corpse puppet again. No! The corpse puppet roared. In the next moment, it was cut in half by the blade light. The corpse puppet, who was ranked 96th on the list of top 1,000 talents, was killed just like that. It showed how cruel the battle of luck was. This was only the beginning. It would be crueler later. It was not an exaggeration to call it the burial ground of talents. After killing the corpse puppet, Luoli waved his hand and put away the corpse puppet's storage ring. Then, he looked in the direction of Lu Ming with his sinister eyes. Lu Ming's expression changed. Could he have been discovered by Luoli even though he was so far away? However, Luoli only glanced at him and sneered. He then looked away and landed on Divine Bird Cliff. It seems that I can't go to Divine Bird Cliff. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Luoli's cultivation was too strong. Compared to Luoli, the difference was too great. He could only avoid Luoli. Quietly turning around, Lu Ming headed in the direction of Twin Moon Mountain. Soon, he was only a few thousand miles away from Twin Moon Mountain. Lu Ming retracted his aura and approached slowly. Who knew if there were powerful talents on Twin Moon Mountain? Lu Ming had to be careful. Boom! Suddenly, a purple flame shot up to the sky from below and blasted toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's countenance changed. He took a step back and retreated rapidly, dodging the attack. A figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. Wang Yan. Lu Ming's expression changed. He realized that Wang Yan's aura was extremely terrifying. It was not the aura of a spirit sea realm cultivator, but that of a spirit embryo realm cultivator. Wang Yan had also broken through to the spirit embryo realm. For a genius like Wang Yan, breaking through from the spirit sea realm to the spirit embryo realm was not just a small increase in strength. Lu Ming, let's see how you're going to die this time. Wang Yan's gaze was extremely cold. Last time, he was severely injured by Lu Ming and almost died. He hated Lu Ming to the bone. A mere trash dared to injure him. It was unforgivable. The flames on his body were several times more terrifying than 20 days ago. The terrifying temperature caused even the air to distort. Even though there was a distance between them, Lu Ming could feel a sharp pain on his body. It was as if his entire body was burning. Xiao! With a flash of fire, Wang Yan crossed through the air and appeared in front of Lu Ming. He punched towards Lu Ming. A dragon roar sounded. Lu Ming did not hold back and instantly released all of his dragon energy. For dragon energies exploded, and the true essence in his body roared. For different concepts surrounded him as he activated the suppressing Hell Heaven skill and punched out. Boom! A ray of fire soared into the sky, and Lu Ming's body was sent flying. Blood spurted out of his mouth, and his arm was in pain. The dragon scales were burnt and cracked by the flames. The surface of his arm was charred black and emitted the fragrance of barbecued meat. Too strong. Wang Yan broke through to the spirit embryo realm, and his battle prowess increased by too much. Even though Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th level of the spirit sea realm, he was still far from being Wang Yan's opponent. His breakthrough was only a small breakthrough, while Wang Yan's was a breakthrough of a large realm. They could not be compared. If Lu Ming had not broken through, he would not even be able to take a single punch and would be severely injured. I'm not his opponent now. Let's go. Lu Ming turned around and executed the 9 dragons' heaven trampling steps. He turned into a ray of light and disappeared. Want to run? It's not that easy. You will die today. Wang Yan roared and turned into a ray of fire, chasing after Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. However, in terms of speed, Lu Ming was still faster. The distance between the two slowly increased. Damn it! Wang Yan roared. But at this moment Lu Ming's gaze froze. Chapter 9:11. It was a young man in black. His entire body radiated a sharp aura, as if he was a peerless divine weapon. Jiang Taichong. Lu Ming's pupils constricted. Jiang Taichong's ranking on the list of top 1,000 talents was even higher than Wang Yan's. Lu Ming did not expect to meet Jiang Taichong here. It could not be so coincidental. Jiang Taichong might have met Wang Yan long ago, and was lying in ambush nearby, waiting for Lu Ming. Haha, Lu Ming, let's see how you're going to escape. Wang Yan laughed excitedly. Lu Ming die. Jiang Taichong's eyes were filled with killing intent. He swung his arm, and a terrifying sword radiance slashed towards Lu Ming. With Jiang Taichong in front and Wang Yan behind, Lu Ming was in a desperate situation. With a wave of his hand, a Class 1 LV7 puppet pounced forward, but it was split in half by Jiang Taichong's sword radiance. Jiang Taichong's combat strength was stronger than Wang Yan's. I have no choice but to fight. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with ruthlessness. The 9 dragons' bloodline appeared. Lu Ming used bloodline fusion to transform into 9 dragons and charged towards Wang Yan. Roar! The 9 dragons roared and a terrifying devouring power erupted, enveloping Wang Yan. At the same time, 9 dragon claws stepped out consecutively. 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps, transforming into 9 dragons, and using the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps, was the purest form of the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps. Its power could only be maximized. He took 6 consecutive steps, and a terrifying force blasted towards Wang Yan. Trying to break through from my side. What a joke. Die. Wang Yan's body was covered in flames, and a terrifying flaming fist radiance blasted out. Boom. The flaming fist radiance shattered the power of the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps, but the remaining power was greatly reduced. It landed on the 9 dragons, causing them to tremble. However, they ignored it and continued to charge towards Wang Yan. You're courting death. Wang Yan threw out another punch. However, Lu Ming ignored this punch. His dragon claws stepped into the air and took 6 consecutive steps. A powerful force blasted towards Wang Yan. He was fighting with his life on the line. Boom! The terrifying fist chi landed on 9 dragons' body. In an instant, the scales on 9 dragons' body exploded and blood and flesh splattered everywhere. A huge wound appeared on 9 dragons' body. His flesh was badly mutilated, and the scorching hot flame chi flowed through the wound and rushed inside. However, the power of the 9 dragons' heaven stomping steps was also directed towards Wang Yan. Wang Yan's expression changed as he was pushed back by the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 9 dragons and 9 claws stepped on the air. This time, it displayed its extreme speed. The huge dragon body instantly turned into a ray of light and rushed over Wang Yan's head, flying rapidly in the direction of the Twin Moon Mountain. Damn it! Chase after them! Wang Yan furiously roared as he chased after Lu Ming. Jiang Taichong also chased after Lu Ming. One chased while the other fled. The distance of several thousand miles was crossed in an instant. The Twin Moon Mountain was right in front of him. There is indeed a powerful formation in the Twin Moon Mountain. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The Twin Moon Mountain was formed by the intersection of 2 mountain peaks like 2 moons. At the intersection of the 2 mountain peaks, there was a huge stone door that seemed to be a cave residence. The area in front of the stone door was filled with formations. Previously, he had heard the 3-eyed divine race briefly mention the Twin Moon Mountain. The 3-eyed divine race did not know anything about arrays. However, from his words, Lu Ming deduced that an array should have been set up in front of the Twin Moon Mountain. Therefore, Lu Ming rushed over here. With a formation, it was Lu Ming's opportunity. Whoosh! Lu Ming transformed back into his human form and rushed into the Twin Moon Mountain. After charging in, his figure flashed continuously, sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right, slowly advancing forward. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next moment, Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong arrived. When the two arrived, they stopped with ugly expressions. They had arrived a few days ago and already knew that there was a formation here. This little bastard is proficient in the inscription Dao. This formation can't stop him. Wang Yan's expression was extremely ugly. Watch how I break it. Jiang Taichong strode forward as a formation appeared on the ground. Numerous crescent-shaped saber lights slashed towards Jiang Taichong. Jiang Taichong's palms slashed out continuously. The sharp and terrifying sword lights collided with the crescent-shaped saber lights continuously. Clang! Clang! The sound of metal clashing could be heard. After a while, Jiang Taichong retreated with an ugly expression. He could not rush in at all. At this moment, Lu Ming had already passed through layers of inscription formations and arrived at an empty space in front of him. There was no formation in the innermost area. Come in if you have the ability. Lu Ming turned around and sneered at Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong. Damn it! Wang Yan roared. Unfortunately, there were formations in this area and even in the air. There was no way they could rush in. Lu Ming sneered as he sat down with his legs crossed and began to treat his injuries. Previously, he had transformed into 9 dragons and received Wang Yan's punch head-on. However, he was still injured and had to treat his injuries as soon as possible. Circulating his battle dragon true energy, Lu Ming began to treat his injuries. Outside, Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong's faces turned dark. Lu Ming was treating his injuries right in front of them, causing them to almost explode from anger. The formation here has been around for many years, and its power is not that strong. We only need to attack it continuously to deplete its energy. Once the energy of the formation is depleted, we will be able to rush in and kill Lu Ming. Jiang Taichong took a deep breath to calm himself down as he analyzed the situation. Wang Yan's eyes flickered as he said with joy, "Not bad, not bad. The formation here is not that strong. We can definitely resist it. As long as we continue to attack it, we will definitely be able to break it. Let's begin." Jiang Taichong nodded his head. Bang! Bang! A powerful aura burst out from the two as they stepped forward and entered the area of the formation. Instantly, the formation appeared and countless crescent-shaped saber lights were emitted, slashing toward the two. The two of them then attacked and clashed with the crescent-shaped saber lights. Lu Ming opened his eyes and glanced outside, before he closed his eyes again and began to treat his injuries. He was well aware of Jiang Taichong and Wang Yan's plan, but his priority now was to treat his injuries before thinking about anything else. After a day and a night, Lu Ming's injuries were fully healed. Meanwhile, Jiang Taichong and Wang Yan continued to break the formation after resting for a while. Lu Ming rose from his seat and walked toward the stone door at the intersection of the 2 mountains. Damn it! Wang Yan let out a furious roar after seeing this. Don't worry, We will block him from the outside. Even if he manages to find a fortunate encounter, he will not be able to escape from our grasp. Jiang Taichung was much calmer than Wang Yan as he spoke. Wang Yan calmed down too, and continued to break the formation. Lu Ming walked to the stone door, and reached out his hands to push it with all his might. It did not budge. The stone door did not budge. Lu Ming took a step back and dashed forward with a kick, throwing a punch at the stone door. Bang! It was as if the entire ground was shaking, but the stone door did not budge. So hard. Chapter 9:12. Just now, he had used all of his true origin energy, and executed the hell-suppressing heaven art. Yet he was still unable to break the stone door. This stone door was terrifyingly hard. In the next moment, Lu Ming released his dragon energy. Scales appeared on his body, and his muscles bulged. He was filled with explosive strength. Boom! A heavy punch landed on the stone door. The stone door shook violently. The two mountains beside the stone door also shook violently, but in the end, the stone door remained intact. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming was like a ferocious beast in human form. He continued to punch the stone door, but he was still unable to break it open. It's too hard. With my cultivation, there's still a gap. I can't break it open. Lu Ming frowned. Ha ha ha, the heavens are really helping me. It's better for you to obediently wait for your death outside. Seeing this, Wang Yan laughed arrogantly. Jiang Taichung also smiled. Lu Ming frowned. He turned around and stopped attacking the stone door. Instead, he started to inscribe a formation on the empty ground. You want to inscribe a formation to protect yourself? Dream on. Wang Yan sneered. Since they had seen it, they would definitely be more careful. How could they step into Lu Ming's formation so easily? Lu Ming spent 3 hours setting up a large formation before stopping. Indeed, Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung had seen him inscribing the formation. No matter how strong the formation was, the two of them wouldn't be fooled by it. Thus, the formation he inscribed wasn't a powerful killing formation. It was a formation that aided in the cultivation of spirit flame. The only path he had now was strength. As long as he was strong enough, he wouldn't have to fear Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung. Thus he had to break through on his own. However, Lu Ming's current cultivation was only at the peak of Spirit Sea level 9. There was still Spirit Sea Great Circle before he could break through to the Spirit Embryo realm. It was almost impossible for him to break through in a short period of time. Lu Ming estimated that the formations on the Twin Moon Mountain would only be able to stop Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung for 5 days. It was almost impossible for him to break through to the Spirit Embryo realm in 5 days. Now only the Tao of Inscription was possible. Originally, Lu Ming had already ignited 10 blue mind lamps, and was only a step away from becoming a level 7 inscriber. As long as his inscription Tao reached rank 7, Lu Ming's strength would soar. At that time, he would be able to fight or even kill Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung with his inscription Tao. Originally, now was not the time for a breakthrough. It was not perfect yet. He needed to cultivate for a period of time before he could naturally break through. However, he couldn't care less right now. Lu Ming had to use some methods to break through in 5 days. He sat down cross-legged, and a pill appeared in his hand. Lu Ming had purchased the explosive spirit pill from the 100 Treasure Pavilion of the Talisman Puppet sect. Consuming this kind of pill would cause one spirit fire to go berserk. It would allow one spirit fire to grow for a short period of time and achieve the effect of breaking through to the next realm. However, there was a risk here. If he failed to break through to the next realm, it might cause a few of his spirit lamps to be extinguished. It would be very difficult for him to cultivate back. Even if he were to succeed in his breakthrough, his foundation would still be unstable. This would affect his future cultivation, and he would have to spend some time to make up for it. However, he couldn't care less right now. He had to get through this crisis first. Lu Ming had to break through to the next realm in 5 days. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming swallowed the explosive spirit pill and started cultivating with the underworld god observation method. In his sea of consciousness, the spirit fire started to go berserk, burning even more vigorously. On the ground, the array shone brightly. This kind of array could also allow the spirit fire to erupt with greater power. Time quickly passed. 1 day, 2 days. In the blink of an eye, 4 days had passed. In Lu Ming's sea of consciousness, the spirit fire had already gone berserk and was about to turn into a raging dragon. As the spirit fire went berserk, the flames of the 10 spirit lamps started to fuse and condense into a ball, burning fiercely. Right now, he had to make the blue spirit fire turn purple. Once it turned purple, it would mean that he had broken through to the 7th grade. Time quickly passed, minute by minute, second by second. Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung constantly bombarded the array. The array shattered one after another. They would soon break through the array and enter. Looks like this brat knows that he can't escape and is waiting for death. Wang Yan sneered. Let's be careful later. This brat might counterattack before he dies. Jiang Taichung said. What's there to be afraid of? No matter how he counterattacks, he's still a Sea of Soul Realm martial artist. What kind of threat can he pose to us? Wang Yan sneered. Jiang Taichung also nodded his head. That was indeed the case. They were all geniuses among geniuses. It was common for them to kill someone above their level. Moreover, their cultivation level was now higher than Lu Ming's. No one could defeat them when there was a huge difference in cultivation level. They constantly bombarded the array. Lu Ming's cultivation had also reached a critical moment. In his sea of consciousness, the spirit fire constantly condensed and shrunk. Slowly, when it had shrunk to the limit, a wisp of purple light spread out. A small purple spirit fire slowly burned on the first spirit lamp. It looked very small and didn't burn hot. However, the spirit fire emitted from it was 10 times stronger than before. The purple spirit fire has finally broken through. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up into a smile. He now felt that as long as he willed it, his boundless spirit fire would be able to surge out. Looks like they haven't broken through yet. Let's wait for them. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up into a sneer. He closed his eyes and activated the underworld god observation method to consolidate his cultivation. Half a day later, with a boom, Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung finally broke through the array. They stood a few dozen meters away from Lu Ming. However, they didn't immediately attack Lu Ming. This was because they had seen Lu Ming inscribing a large array. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes and slowly stood up. Lu Ming, your death is here. Wang Yan revealed a sinister smile. Is that so? Come and kill me if you have the ability. Lu Ming revealed a disdainful smile. Humph. Do you think that you can protect yourself by inscribing a large array? Watch how I break it. Wang Yan took a step forward, and a stream of flames surged towards Lu Ming along the ground. The stream of flames was unobstructed. Lu Ming's figure flashed and dodged the stream of flames. Wang Yan was slightly startled, before he burst out laughing. So you're just trying to be mysterious. You don't even have an array. Die. After saying this, Wang Yan's figure flashed and charged towards Lu Ming. Jiang Taichung didn't move. Instead, he guarded the surroundings to prevent any changes, or prevent Lu Ming from escaping. A dragon's roar could be heard as Lu Ming unleashed his dragon force, and threw a punch at Wang Yan. With a boom, Lu Ming was knocked back. He spat out a mouthful of blood and stamped his feet on the ground. Haha die. Wang Yan laughed as a terrifying stream of flames surged towards Lu Ming. Chapter 913. Jiang Taichung blocked in front of Lu Ming, while Wang Yan rushed up from behind. Lu Ming had nowhere to run, but at this moment, Lu Ming's face was extremely calm, and there was even a trace of killing intent. No. For some reason, Jiang Taichung's heart skipped a beat. He felt an inexplicable sense of danger, but he couldn't figure out where it came from. Lu Ming? Impossible. With Lu Ming's cultivation, it was impossible for him to be a match for them. Wang Yan was already closing in. At this moment, Lu Ming stomped his foot heavily, and dense inscriptions appeared on the ground. A few large arrays appeared. You want to deal with us by carving an array in an instant? Dream on. Wang Yan sneered, but in the next moment his face changed. No, this is a level 7 array. How can you carve a level 7 array in an instant? Wang Yan cried out in disbelief. Carving a level 7 array in an instant wasn't something an ordinary level 7 inscription master could do. Only a level 7 inscription master with profound mental energy could do it. How could Lu Ming do it? Not good. Retreat. Jiang Taichung's face changed, and he was about to retreat. But it was too late. The array shone brightly, and golden vines condensed, wrapping around Jiang Taichung and Wang Yan. Break! Jiang Taichung's body emitted an extremely sharp aura, and with a wave of his hand, a sharp sword aura shot out, slashing at the vines. But with a single slash, he could only cut a few vines. These vines were called golden vines, and they were formed from a level 7 array, the golden vines array. They were extremely tough, and were impervious to fire and water. Wang Yan also roared and flames spread out, trying to burn the vines. Although they could be burned, it was very slow. The two of them were entangled for a moment. Lu Ming sneered, and he continued carving the array. Countless inscriptions shone from Lu Ming's feet and palms, and a purple mental energy fire jumped between Lu Ming's eyebrows. Level 7 Inscription Master. He is a level 7 Inscription Master. Charge out, we must charge out. Jiang Taichung roared in shock, and charged out with all his might, cutting the vines one by one. A few golden vines array naturally couldn't completely trap Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung. But Lu Ming's goal was to stop them for a moment, and that was enough. Wang! On the ground, another array appeared. This time, it was a level 7 intermediate ice hunting array. Arrays were arrays of level 7 level and level. For example, a 7th level elementary formation was enough to deal with practitioners at the 1st to 3rd level of spirit embryo realm. If used well, it could even kill practitioners at the 3rd level of spirit embryo realm. However, even though Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung were only at the 1st level of spirit embryo realm, their battle prowess allowed them to kill those at the 4th level of spirit embryo realm. 7th level beginner formations were of little use to them. However, it was a different story for a level 7 intermediate array. A 7th level middle grade formation could deal with strong practitioners of the 4th to 6th level of the spirit embryo realm. However, although Lu Ming's spiritual energy was incomparably dense and far surpassed other inscribers of the same level, he had only just broken through to the 7th level. It was still impossible for him to instantly inscribe a mid-7th level formation. He would need some time. The time the Golden Rattan Grand Array was able to hold off Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung was enough for him to inscribe a level 7 intermediate array. Whoosh! Whoosh! 12 long spears condensed from ice appeared and emitted an extremely cold aura. They pierced through the air and pierced towards Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung respectively. Boom! Wang Yan punched out with both of his fists. Terrifying flames filled the air as he tried to melt the ice spear. However, what shocked him was that the ice spear had only shrunk a little after piercing through his fists. It was not completely melted, and it continued to fly towards Wang Yan. On the other hand, Jiang Taichung did his best to continuously hack at the ice spear. Although he managed to block it in the end, it was still extremely difficult for him. A layer of white frost appeared all over his body. His entire body trembled as if he was about to be frozen solid. Whoosh! Whoosh! What made them despair was that more ice spears were condensed. This time, there were 24 of them. Each of them had 12 ice spears. The two of them tried their best to block, but the ice spears were too powerful. Although they managed to block it, they were both injured. However, more ice spears soon appeared. Ah! Ah! Then two screams of despair were heard. Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung's bodies were pierced through by a few ice spears. Their bodies stiffened as they were frozen on the spot. No, don't kill me! Wang Yan screamed in fear. Although the battle of fortune was dangerous, it was also filled with opportunities. No one participated in the battle of fortune because they wanted to die. They all wanted to obtain a huge opportunity in endless fortune. Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung were naturally the same. They wanted to obtain a huge opportunity in the battle of fortune and obtain a huge fortune. They wanted to stand out and surpass those stronger geniuses. Who would have thought that they would die less than a month after the battle of fortune had started? How could they accept this? Wang Yan, have you forgotten what I've said? I said that I will definitely kill you. Lu Ming's cold voice resounded. He then waved his hand and an ice spear appeared, stabbing towards Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung. No, no! Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung screamed in fear, but they could not change the outcome. The ice spear pierced through the space between their eyebrows. Then, the 9 dragons' bloodline appeared and devoured the 2 of them. It did not take long for the refinement to be completed. Jiang Taichung cultivated sword intent, which was useless to Lu Ming. Wang Yan's fire intent would allow Lu Ming's fire intent to break through and enter the 3rd level. However, Lu Ming's bloodline did not increase. Prison suppressing steel bloodline, 3rd level divine grade. 9 dragons bloodline, 4th level divine grade. Whoosh! After the refinement, Lu Ming exhaled and stood up. The Book of Fortune appeared in front of him. He realized that the fortune points on the Book of Fortune had increased by 2,000. This was because Lu Ming had robbed Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung of their fortune points after killing them. Lu Ming's fortune points were now close to 5,000. Then he looked at the stone door. He had to break open the stone door. Lu Ming began to inscribe an array in front of the stone door. This time, it took half a day for Lu Ming to inscribe an advanced level 7 array. Lu Ming could now instantly cast a beginner level 7 array. If given enough time, Lu Ming could even cast a top level 7 array. The array glowed and formed a giant hammer that smashed towards the stone door. The hammer formed by the advanced level 7 array was many times stronger than Lu Ming's own attack. Boom! The stone door shook violently, as if it was about to break open. Continue. The giant hammers formed one after another and smashed on the door. Boom! Boom! The sound of explosions was endless. After a dozen or so attacks, the door was smashed open with a bang, revealing a dark passage inside. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He waved his hand, and a puppet walked in first. Seeing that there was no danger, Lu Ming also stepped in. Chapter 914. This seemed to be the cave of an expert. In the secret underground room, there were tables, chairs, beds, and everything else. There were also a few bookshelves. Lu Ming walked around and found that there were only some books on the bookshelves. Lu Ming walked over and picked up a book. Heaven Zigzag Battle Art. This was a cultivation technique. Lu Ming opened it and his eyes widened. Then he was overjoyed. This was actually a deity-grade cultivation technique. A low-grade deity-grade cultivation technique. How precious was a deity-level cultivation technique? For example, the core cultivation techniques of the 6 ancient families of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace were low-grade divine cultivation techniques. A deity-level cultivation technique could almost support an ancient aristocratic family. Lu Ming had the true dragon battle art and didn't need to cultivate other cultivation techniques. Lu Ming didn't know if the true dragon battle art that he cultivated was low-grade or high-grade divine cultivation technique. However, the cultivation requirements were extremely harsh. Others couldn't cultivate it at all. Lu Ming had 2 disciples, family and friends now, but they couldn't cultivate the true dragon battle art. However, he could impart other divine cultivation techniques to them. Lu Ming was overjoyed and kept it. Then, he looked at the other books. There were a total of more than 10 books. Among them, there were 2 divine cultivation techniques, and the rest were demigod-level martial skills. There were low-grade and high-grade demigod-level martial skills. This was an unimaginable wealth. Lu Ming kept all of them happily. He continued to walk around, and found that the secret underground room was empty. There was nothing else. At this time, Lu Ming left the secret underground room reluctantly. Then he randomly chose a direction and soared into the sky. Swoosh! Not long after Lu Ming left, a figure with overwhelming demonic aura descended on the Twin Moon Mountain. It was the little demon lord Luoli. The array here has been broken. Someone has been here. Luoli whispered. His eyes flashed coldly. He stepped out and rushed into the secret underground room. After a while he appeared outside again. As expected, someone beat me to it. Damn it! Luoli growled and soared into the sky. The direction he chose was coincidentally the direction Lu Ming had left in. As Lu Ming flew, his muscles and bones wriggled. After a while his physique and appearance changed greatly. Then, the inscriptions on his body shone as he laid down a formation to restrain his aura. Not a single bit of aura leaked out from his body. Right now, both the Heavenly Emperor Divine Palace and the Heavenly Fiend Valley wanted to kill him. Temporarily changing his identity would be more convenient for him to act. Moreover, Lu Ming was still no match for the top geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. Once his cultivation improved, and he was no longer afraid of them, he would no longer need to disguise himself. Lu Ming flew all the way. His speed wasn't very fast. He mainly wanted to see if there were any spirit herbs and the like, and picked them along the way. Rumble. Suddenly, a terrifying sonic boom came from behind. A vast demonic might spread out from behind. Stop! Then a loud shout was heard. Lu Ming frowned. He stopped and turned his head to take a look. Luo Li appeared not far from Lu Ming with his vast demonic might. Lad, you came from that direction? Luo Li pointed in the direction behind him. That's right. Lu Ming frowned. Have you been to Twin Moon Mountain? Luo Li asked. Twin Moon Mountain? What Twin Moon Mountain? Lu Ming played dumb. Luo Li frowned slightly. He could see that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 9th tier of the spiritual sea realm. There was no way he could break the formation of Twin Moon Mountain. The treasures in Twin Moon Mountain shouldn't have been obtained by Lu Ming. You haven't been to Twin Moon Mountain? Then did you see anyone passing by? Luo Li asked. No, I've been looking for spirit herbs in this area. I didn't see anyone else. Lu Ming said. Well, then you can go. Luo Li waved his hand. Lu Ming nodded and turned to leave. The moment he turned, a trace of killing intent flashed in Luo Li's eyes. With a wave of his hand, a saber light slashed toward Lu Ming. Hong! At this moment, Lu Ming exploded with dragon power. He turned around and punched out, colliding with the saber light. His body trembled and he retreated madly. What are you doing? Lu Ming shouted. Restrain your aura and sneak around. Let's kill first. Luo Li snorted, but a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Although his move just now was a casual slash, almost no one under the spirit embryo realm could block it. He didn't expect Lu Ming to block it. Lu Ming's battle prowess surprised him. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. These people were really domineering. Just a little bit of suspicion, and they wanted to kill. Luckily he was prepared. The moment Luo Li made his move he sensed it. Xiao! Luo Li's demonic aura churned. His palm slashed out again, and a black saber light slashed violently toward Lu Ming. A purple flame flashed in the heart of Lu Ming's brows. He waved his hands and formations appeared in the air, forming golden vines that coiled towards Luo Li, inscribing formations in the air. You are a 7th grade inscription master. Looks like the treasure of Double Moon Mountain is yours. Die! Luo Li's killing intent surged as he shouted. His saber light flashed. Pung! Pung! The incomparably sturdy golden vines instantly shattered, unable to block Luo Li's attack. Lu Ming took a few steps and waved his hands. Formations appeared one after another. They were all 7th grade elementary formations. However, Luo Li was really too strong. With a slash of his saber, there was nothing it couldn't break. Those formations shattered one by one. Peak of the 3rd level of Spirit Embryo Realm. Lu Ming's pupils contracted. Little Devil Lord Luo Li's cultivation was at the peak of the 3rd level of Spirit Embryo Realm. However, with his battle prowess, even if he was 3 levels higher, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill a normal martial arts practitioner at the 6th level of Spirit Embryo Realm. He was simply too strong. And this was only at the Spirit Embryo Realm. If he was at the Spirit Ocean Realm, it would be easy for him to kill an enemy 4 levels higher. 7th grade elementary formations didn't pose any threat to Luo Li. Kill! The pitch-black devil saber gave off a terrifying aura. The formations shattered, and Lu Ming was swept by a saber light. The scales on his skin shattered, and one of his arms was almost chopped off. Pung! The formation on Lu Ming's body that was concealing his aura collapsed, and his original aura leaked out. You are Lu Ming? Hahaha, my luck isn't bad. If I kill you, the Supreme Elder of Wang family will reward me handsomely. Luo Li laughed loudly. His devil aura surged, and a terrifying saber light slashed through everything. The formation in front of him instantly shattered, and the terrifying saber light slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hands and 2 puppets rushed out. They were easily split into 2 by the saber light. Lu Ming, consider yourself unlucky to have met me. Today you will definitely die. Luo Li laughed loudly. However, Lu Ming waved his hands again. This time, more than 10 puppets appeared and rushed towards Luo Li. These puppets were all at the first and second grade of 7th grade. Behind the puppets were 9 puppets that looked like white birds. They followed the puppets in front and rushed towards Luo Li. The 9 puppets at the back were all at the 4th grade of 7th grade. These were the highest grade puppets that Lu Ming had bought from the 100 Treasures Pavilion. If he hadn't become a 7th grade inscription master, he wouldn't have been able to control them. Luo Li's devil saber slashed out, and the puppets in front of him were all chopped into pieces. But at this moment, the strongest puppet arrived behind him. Explode! Chapter 9:15. As Lu Ming uttered the word explode, the 9 level 4 4th level puppets glowed all over and exploded with a loud bang. Puppets self-destructed. 9 level 4 level 7 puppets self-destructed, forming a terrifying energy storm that surged toward Luo Li. Lu Ming turned around and used the 9 dragons heaven stomp to leave the place. Rumble! Luo Li's angry roar could be heard from the raging energy storm. After a few breaths, Luo Li rushed out. He was in a sorry state. His clothes were in tatters, and there were many wounds on his body that bled profusely. His face was charred black, as if it had been charred. He looked around, but there was no trace of Lu Ming. Ah, Lu Ming, I'll kill you! Luo Li roared angrily. A moment of carelessness had cost him a great deal. Luo Li's desire to kill Lu Ming was extremely strong. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons heaven stomping steps and moved forward quickly. The explosion of the 9 puppets was powerful, but Lu Ming knew that it would not be able to do anything to Luo Li. It's still not enough to rely on the path of inscription alone. Lu Ming frowned. His path of inscription was already very strong. He could instantly cast a beginner grade 7 formation and coordinate it well. Even an ordinary martial artist of the 4th spirit embryo realm would be killed by him. He had just become a grade 7 inscription master, which was already terrifying. However, Luo Li was not an ordinary martial artist. He was a prodigy among prodigies. I have to break through to the spirit embryo realm as soon as possible. Only then can I combine martial arts with inscription to be confident of fighting prodigies like Luo Li. Breaking through to the spirit embryo realm was imperative. With Lu Ming's current combat ability, he could easily deal with ordinary prodigies, or even most of the god-level prodigies. However, the top 100 of the list of top 1,000 talents, or even those higher up, were all monsters. He was far from enough. After flying for 100,000 miles, Lu Ming landed. After circulating his energy for a while, the injury on his arm was completely healed. Afterward, Lu Ming took a look at his luck points. His luck points had exceeded 10,000 and reached 10,800. After obtaining the secret manuals from the Twin Moon Mountain, his luck points increased by more than 5,000. I've finished exploring the strange land within a radius of 100,000 li. I need to go further. Lu Ming pondered for a moment before choosing to fly west. After flying for a while, Lu Ming's eyes suddenly paused. A group of figures appeared in front of him. There were about 100 members of the three-eyed divine race, flying at high speed in the sky. At this moment, the three-eyed being had caught sight of Lu Ming as well. It's those human youths. Kill them! Kill them! As soon as the three-eyed divine race saw Lu Ming, they roared and rushed towards Lu Ming. The strongest seems to be at the 4th level of spirit embryo realm. In that case, shall all of you become my nourishment? Lu Ming's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. He took several steps forward, and the inscriptions continued to seep into the void. Whoosh! Whoosh! The speed of the three-eyed divine race was extremely fast. In just a few breaths, they had already closed in on Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a heavy step in the void, and the inscriptions shone. Formations appeared and condensed into sword lights that slashed forward. This was a 7th level formation, and its power was extremely strong. The three-eyed divine race, who were below the spirit embryo realm, were instantly split into 2 and killed on the spot. Roar! The bloodline of the 9 dragons appeared, and with a roar, the power of devouring burst forth. The blood essence, runes, and energy of the dead three-eyed divine race were all devoured by Lu Ming. Even those who weren't dead had their battle prowess greatly reduced under the devouring power of the 9 dragons' bloodline. Lu Ming continued to inscribe formations and unleash attacks that were like a storm. Some of the three-eyed divine race, who were at the first and second level of spirit embryo realm, found it hard to defend themselves. Under the storm-like attacks, they were killed. Retreat, retreat! The leader was a three-eyed divine race, who was at the 4th level of spirit embryo realm. He was tall and sturdy and had a powerful aura. At this moment, however, he was filled with fear as he screamed. Whoosh! Whoosh! Sword light flashed, and the three-eyed divine race were killed one by one. Bang! In the end, only the three-eyed divine race, who was at the 4th level of spirit embryo realm, managed to escape the area covered by the formation. He frantically fled into the distance, disappearing into the horizon. The rest of the three-eyed divine race were all killed by Lu Ming. What a pity! Lu Ming muttered. If he had focused all his attacks on the three-eyed divine race, who was at the 4th level of spirit embryo realm, it would have been enough to kill him. However, the attacks just now were too scattered, which was why he managed to escape. Lu Ming put away all the storage rings and controlled the bloodline of the 9 dragons to devour over 100 three-eyed divine race into mummies. He then left the place. 10,000 miles away, Lu Ming dug out a cave in a huge mountain. He inscribed formations at the entrance of the cave and sat cross-legged in the cave, beginning to refine. Although most of the three-eyed divine race were at the 9th level of Spirit Sea Realm, or at the perfected Spirit Sea Realm, their energy was still astonishing. Lu Ming continuously refined them. Lu Ming's focus was on the concept. The concepts that he didn't need were directly eliminated, and refined those that were needed. Among them, the concept of fire was the most. There was also the concept of thunder, and some concept of wind. There weren't many concepts of earth, but there were still a few. There was even a three-eyed divine race, who was at the 2nd level of spirit embryo realm, who had comprehended the concept of earth. The concept of spirit embryo realm was definitely at the 3rd level. This allowed Lu Ming's concept of earth to break through to the 2nd level of perfection. As the concept of earth broke through to the 2nd level of perfection, the huge amount of energy was continuously converted into Lu Ming's cultivation. Not long after, the aura on Lu Ming's body increased drastically, breaking through to the perfected Spirit Sea Realm. Wang. Immediately after, the bloodline of the prison suppressing monument appeared, emitting an ancient and heavy aura. 3 golden chakras lit up, and in the next moment, the 4th chakra appeared. The bloodline of the prison suppressing monument also leveled up, reaching the 4th level of the God realm. 2 hours later, Lu Ming finally refined all the energy. The concept of wind, and the concept of fire, improved the most, constantly nearing the 3rd level of the lower tier. The concept of thunder also broke through to the 3rd level. Only the concept of earth was still at the 2nd level of perfection. His cultivation had also reached the peak of the perfected Spirit Sea Realm, only a step away from the Spirit Embryo Realm. This time he had gained a lot. Moreover, his luck points had increased by a few thousand. Killing these three-eyed divine race members is really a big gain. Lu Ming revealed a smile. The 2nd level of perfection of the concept of earth. Now is the time for the myriad fruit to come in handy. Lu Ming pondered, and in the next moment, a myriad fruit appeared in his hand. Without hesitation he swallowed it. Lu Ming's mind moved, and the myriad fruit entered Lu Ming's body, turning into a mysterious energy. This energy seemed to follow Lu Ming's thoughts, turning into an extremely rich concept of earth. The myriad fruit could change everything, and it was really mysterious. Lu Ming used the myriad fruit to cultivate the concept of earth, and his progress was extremely fast. After using up 1 myriad fruit, Lu Ming took out the next one. Last time, Lu Ming had obtained a total of 12 myriad fruits. 3 days later, after Lu Ming swallowed 7 myriad fruits, his concept of earth finally broke through the bottleneck and reached the 3rd level. Chapter 9:16. However, Lu Ming's cultivation wasn't over yet. He spent another 2 days to refine the remaining 5 myriad fruit. His earth concept had advanced to the middle stage of level 3. However, the more I eat, the worse the effects of the myriad fruit. Lu Ming thought. The myriad fruit was the most effective during the first 5. Towards the end, the body seemed to be immune to the myriad fruit, and the effects would become worse. If there were more myriad manifestation fruits, the effect would be negligible if he continued to eat them. All 4 concepts had reached level 3. The next step was to condense the spirit embryo. Condensing the spirit embryo meant condensing the spirit seed into a round shape, like a placenta. That was why it was called a spirit embryo. A spirit embryo could give birth to a spirit god. It wasn't easy to condense a spirit embryo, as it required a large amount of energy. Lu Ming had a large amount of origin stones on him. However, Lu Ming didn't want to waste them. Weren't there many three-eyed divine tribe members outside? Why waste them? Lu Ming exited the cave and found a majestic and obvious mountain peak. Lu Ming began to inscribe formations at the peak of the mountain. Endless inscriptions continued to seep into the mountain peak. This time he spent a total of 2 days. In 2 days, he only managed to inscribe a single formation. However, this grand array was a top-notch level 7 grand array. Its power was incomparably terrifying. After inscribing, Lu Ming spent some more time inscribing some level 7 intermediate formations. Then he sat cross-legged on the mountain peak. He planned to wait here for the three-eyed divine tribe members to come. Since he needed time to condense and polish the concept in true yuan, he might as well wait for the enemy to take the bait and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Lu Ming closed his eyes and cultivated quietly at the peak of the mountain. 1 day, 2 days, and 3 days later, there wasn't a single person. However, Lu Ming wasn't in a hurry. His true yuan and concept were slowly becoming pure. But it wasn't enough. He still needed to condense and polish quickly. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days passed. Lu Ming sat there for 6 days. Swoosh, swoosh. On the 7th day, a piercing sound could be heard as over 20 figures appeared not far away from the mountain. There were more than 20 figures, all of whom were young. Some of them were young geniuses, some carried long swords on their backs. Wrapped in black robes, these were death warriors. These were the geniuses of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. There's someone on the mountain. One of them looked at the mountain peak and said. Everyone else looked toward the mountain peak. That person looks familiar. It's Lu Ming. That's Lu Ming. Someone shouted. It really is Lu Ming. I didn't expect him to be sitting on the mountain in broad daylight. Brother Luan, why don't we attack and kill Lu Ming? In the end, the young men all looked at a young man in armor. He was a god-level genius from the ancient Luan family, and ranked 139th on the list of top 1,000 talents. He was the leader of the crowd. At this moment, Lu Ming also opened his eyes and looked at the geniuses of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace with a cold smile. Since he had set up the array, Lu Ming did not disguise himself. If the geniuses of the other forces wanted to kill him, he would not mind killing them to obtain their luck points. The genius from the Luan family frowned slightly. Back at the exchange meet in Nine Dragons City, Lu Ming had displayed his powerful combat strength, which was not much weaker than his. Now that more than half a year had passed, although he had made great progress, Lu Ming must have become stronger as well. He was not confident. Moreover, Lu Ming was sitting on the mountain peak in broad daylight, which made him feel uneasy. Lu Ming is very strange. To be honest, I'm not completely confident. Moreover, he's just sitting there. I'm afraid there's a trap. Let's leave Lu Ming's life to those stronger experts. We just need to spread the news. The genius from the Luan family said slowly. The others fell silent for a moment before nodding their heads. Since the genius from the Luan family had said so, the weaker ones would naturally not dare to make a move. Let's go. Let's leave this place. The genius from the Luan family said. Then, the group flew forward and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming felt that it was a pity. These people were really cautious. He had no choice but to continue waiting. However, less than 2 hours later, there was a loud piercing sound in front of him. Lu Ming saw that it was still the group of people from the Luan family. However, at this moment, they were panicking and in a sorry state. They were fleeing for their lives. Behind them, there were many tall and burly figures chasing after them. The three-eyed divine race. Behind them, There were 500 to 600 three-eyed divine race pursuing them. Among the three-eyed divine race, there were many powerful existences with terrifying auras. Die humans! How dare you use us as a test subject? Die! The three-eyed divine race shouted as they chased after them. They did not use their full strength, and it was like a game of cat and mouse. Stop fooling around. Kill these ants quickly, and look for other humans. There will be great rewards for every one of them killed. A deep voice sounded. Yes. The strong practitioners of the three-eyed divine race answered, and increased their speed. They broke through the air, and rushed in front of the genius from the Yuan family, blocking their path. These people were all at the third level of the spirit embryo realm. As for the youth from the Yuan family, he was only at the great circle of the spiritual sea realm. At this moment his face was filled with despair. There's a human on the mountain peak. Go kill him. At this moment, the three-eyed divine race discovered Lu Ming. The leader waved his hand, and a three-eyed divine race at the first level of the spirit embryo realm immediately rushed up the mountain peak and rushed towards Lu Ming with a sinister smile. Die! The three-eyed divine race's killing intent was cold. You're the one who's going to die. Lu Ming stood up and struck out with his palm like lightning. Boom! This three-eyed divine race at the first level of the spirit embryo realm was directly split into pieces by Lu Ming's palm. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the great circle of the spiritual sea realm. It was easy for him to kill an expert at the first level of the spirit embryo realm. I must control the suppressing hell celestial skill well. I can't let it explode too much. Lu Ming warned himself secretly. As the suppressing hell steel bloodline was upgraded to the fourth level of the god level, the power of the suppressing hell celestial skill reached the level of a low-grade god level martial technique. Its power was terrifying. However, the amount of vital essence consumed was unimaginable. If Lu Ming used the white hair suppressing hell celestial skill at full power, his vital essence would be sucked dry in an instant. Furthermore, he wouldn't be able to unleash much power. Seems like I have to stop upgrading the suppressing hell steel bloodline and focus on upgrading the Nine Dragons bloodline. Otherwise, the suppressing hell celestial skill will be too powerful, and my cultivation will be too weak to unleash its full power. I have to raise my cultivation first. Thoughts ran through Lu Ming's mind. On the other hand, the genius from the Yuan family was dumbfounded. Lu Ming actually killed a three-eyed divine race at the first level of the spirit embryo realm in one move. He was too strong. His battle power was definitely above his. However, facing so many three-eyed divine race members, he still had to die. Yes, his battle power is not bad. All of you, attack together and kill him. Chapter 917. These 7 to 8 three-eyed gods were all at the first or second level of spirit embryo realm. There was even one at the third level of spirit embryo realm. It was more than enough to kill Lu Ming. The 8 three-eyed gods were tall and sturdy. They were covered in scales and their gazes were cold, like demons from the abyss. They stepped on the void, causing it to tremble as a terrifying aura emanated from their bodies. At this moment, the three-eyed divine tribe members, who were about to kill the prodigies of the Yuan family, stopped in their tracks and looked in Lu Ming's direction. They wanted to see how Lu Ming would be killed. They wanted to make the prodigies of the Yuan family even more fearful. Bang! Bang! The 8 three-eyed gods landed on the mountain peak, causing it to rumble. The 8 of them landed in 4 different directions and surrounded Lu Ming. Die! A three-eyed god race that was at the second level of spirit embryo realm gave a cold shout and shot out a beam of light from his third eye. This beam of light was formed from cold ice, and wherever the beam passed, a white passage would appear in the space. It was all ice crystals. Bang! Lu Ming took a step forward, and a huge formation appeared on the ground. 2 long ice spears formed. One of them destroyed the beam of light shot out by the three-eyed god while the other pierced through him. Not good, it's a formation. On the mountain peak, the expressions of the other 7 three-eyed gods changed drastically. They wanted to retreat, but it was already too late. The cold air was oppressive. In an instant, over 20 long ice spears formed and enveloped the 7 three-eyed gods. Whoosh! Whoosh! The long spears pierced through the air at an unparalleled speed. The 7 three-eyed gods screamed as they were killed one after another. This was a 7th-level intermediate formation. It was more than enough to kill the three-eyed gods who were at the 3rd level of spirit embryo realm. The expressions of the other three-eyed gods changed. The leader of the three-eyed gods had a grave expression. Then a cold murderous intent spread out. So there's a formation here. Do you think it's useful just because you laid a formation? You're still going to die. Let's attack together and kill him from a distance. The leader of the three-eyed gods ordered. The three-eyed godly tribe immediately surrounded the mountain that Lu Ming was at. It was impenetrable. On the other hand, no one cared about the geniuses of the Luang clan. Let's go further away. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the prodigy of the Luang clan and the others flew far away and hid in a secluded mountain peak to observe. If anything went wrong, they would run away immediately. Kill. The leader of the three-eyed god clan gave the order. All of a sudden, the third eye of all the three-eyed god clan members lit up. Beams of light pierced through the air and shot toward Lu Ming. 3,000 meters is enough. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Although the three-eyed divine race had surrounded the mountain, they were still within 3,000 meters of the mountain. This was enough. With a single step, a huge array formation appeared on the mountain peak. This array formation was formed from countless runes. This was the peak 7th grade array that Lu Ming had spent 2 days inscribing. This array formation was called the Star-Chasing Moon-Chasing Array. When the array was activated, countless arrows were formed and shot in all directions. Every arrow was like a beam of light that pierced through the void. It was as if they could chase after the stars and the moon. Hence the name of the array. Bam! 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 The beams of light shot out from the eyes of the three-eyed divine race were all shattered. The arrows continued to shoot toward the three-eyed divine race in all directions. Puffed! Puffed! The power of a peak 7th grade array formation was terrifying. The three-eyed divine race were all pierced through and shot to death in the air. Retreat quickly! The remaining three-eyed divine race screamed in fear. They wanted to escape, but what welcomed them was even more arrows. Blood splattered everywhere and miserable shrieks were heard. No matter if they were at the spiritual sea realm or spirit embryo realm, or if they were at the 1st or 2nd level of spirit embryo realm, or even stronger, they were all killed by the arrows in an instant. No! The leader of the three-eyed divine race screamed in fear. A boundless aura burst forth from his body, and a terrifying black light that had the power to destroy heaven and earth. The leader of the three-eyed divine race had the cultivation of the 7th level of spirit embryo realm, and was extremely powerful. However, under a peak 7th grade array formation it was still useless. He was pierced through by the densely packed arrows, and turned into a hornet's nest. A peak 7th grade array formation could kill a strong practitioner at the 7th level of spirit embryo realm and above, let alone a peak 7th grade array formation. This was something that Lu Ming had spent 2 whole days to set up. Far away, the prodigies of Luan family and the rest were so frightened that their faces turned pale. Their bodies were trembling in fear. They recalled that they had wanted to kill Lu Ming previously. Luckily, they were afraid and didn't make a move. Otherwise, they would have been dead long ago. This Lu Ming is too strong. He can actually set up such a terrifying array. We better not provoke him in the future. If others want to kill him and obtain the rewards, let them go. The prodigies of Luan family said with lingering fear. That's right. Such a monster isn't someone we can deal with. Let's leave this place first and look for other opportunities. Another person said softly. That's right. Let's go. Chapter 9:18. Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through to the 2nd level of spirit embryo realm, and his strength had increased exponentially. Lu Ming felt his body brimming with power. Roar! Dragon roars resounded as the 5 golden chakras on the 9 dragons' bloodline shone brightly. The 9 dragons' bloodline had also increased by another level, reaching the 5th level of the divine level. This was all thanks to the three-eyed god clan leader, who was at the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm. He was really powerful. Be it his blood essence or his energy, they were all extremely powerful. Otherwise, It would be impossible for Lu Ming to have such a huge improvement. Also, the concepts of wind, fire, and thunder are all at the peak of the third level, just one step away from the third level of the initial stage. The concept of earth is also at the late stage of the third level. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with excitement. The ability of the 9 dragons bloodline was too heaven-defying. It allowed Lu Ming's cultivation to increase exponentially, and it was completely possible for him to cultivate more concepts in the future. This time, both my concepts and true essence have increased too much. I can already feel that there are some impurities in my concepts, and the same goes for my true essence. I won't be able to devour for the next period of time. I need to stabilize my foundation, Lu Ming thought to himself. However, Lu Ming didn't want to cultivate in seclusion all the time. He wanted to look for treasures and opportunities while slowly polishing his foundation. After all, 1.5 months had passed since the Battle of Destiny. There was less and less time left. Lu Ming ended his seclusion and flew into the sky. His body moved, and his true essence erupted. Lu Ming's figure was dozens of miles away. My true essence is too strong. With my current cultivation, I can definitely fight little devil Lord Luoli, and even kill him. Lu Ming's face revealed a confident smile. Compared to the last time he met Luoli, Lu Ming had improved too much. His 4 concepts had all broken through to the third level, and the advancement of the 9 dragons bloodline had given him an additional dragon force. In addition to his cultivation reaching the 2nd level of spirit embryo realm, his battle prowess had increased too much. Xiao! Lu Ming turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the sky. Next, Lu Ming searched for spiritual herbs and precious materials, while polishing his foundation and stabilizing his cultivation base. Although Lu Ming's speed was not too fast, he still flew hundreds of thousands of miles. Along the way, he encountered people from the 3-eyed divine race several times, but he did not attack and flew past them. There were powerful existences among the 3-eyed god race. There were quite a few of them who were above the 7th level of spirit embryo realm. And in the spirit embryo realm, it was undoubtedly even more difficult to fight someone of a higher level. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, he was confident that he wasn't afraid of strong practitioners at the 7th level of spirit embryo realm. However, if he was surrounded by many strong practitioners of this level, it would be troublesome. Moreover, his foundation was not stable yet. Even if he killed the 3-eyed divine race, he would not be able to devour them. Therefore, he did not make a move. On this day, Lu Ming was sitting cross-legged on a large tree, condensing his true essence and polishing his concepts. Suddenly, in the distant sky, 2 figures rapidly flew forward. They were 2 youths, a man and a woman. Inscriptions flickered on their bodies. Xing Cheng had a pair of wings. They flapped their wings and continued to fly forward. However, their expressions showed that they were panicking and in a sorry state. People from the Talisman Puppet sect. Lu Ming's expression flickered. This was the first time Lu Ming had encountered disciples from the Talisman Puppet sect since he entered. There were very few people from the Talisman Puppet sect participating in the Battle of Providence, so the chances of encountering them were naturally low. However, these 2 people from the Talisman Puppet sect were clearly fleeing. There were people chasing after them. Swoosh! Swoosh! 2 or 4 streaks of light streaked across the sky and chased after them. They were 4 youths. Judging from their attire, they were actually from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect. The 2 forces had actually joined forces to chase after the people from the Talisman Puppet sect. Hee hee, you can't run away. Come with us obediently. A genius from the Heavenly Corpse sect who was surrounded by corpse chi sneered. This person's cultivation was at the perfected spiritual sea realm. It had been more than a month and a half since the Battle of Providence had started. In such an environment, Lu Ming was not the only one who was improving. Everyone was improving. Many people's cultivation was also advancing by leaps and bounds. When they had first entered, only Wang Yan, and around the top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents, were at the perfected spiritual sea realm. Even Di Feng was only at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual sea realm at that time. However, many people had already broken through to the perfected spiritual sea realm and some had even begun to break through to the spiritual embryo realm. As for the geniuses who were originally above the spiritual embryo realm, naturally, they had also broken through. Everyone was improving. If they did not, they would be eliminated. Among the 3 youths who were chasing after them, one of them was at the perfected spiritual sea realm, while the other 2 were at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual sea realm. The 4 of them were extremely fast and quickly approached the 2 disciples from the Talisman Puppet sect. Fight it out with them. The girl from the Talisman Puppet sect shouted angrily and stopped. More than 10 inscription talisman scrolls appeared in her hands. Her spiritual fire spread out, and the inscription talisman scrolls glowed. They exploded with attacks, and attacked the 4 people who were chasing after them. Child's play. A flash of saber light shot out from a youth in purple from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The youth in purple was another expert at the perfected spiritual sea realm. There was no doubt that this person was a god-tier genius who had awakened his god-tier bloodline and had extremely powerful battle prowess. As the flash of saber light slashed out, the inscription talisman scrolls attacks of the girl from the Talisman Puppet sect were all defeated. In the end, the flash of saber light landed on the girl's body and broke her protective barrier. The girl spat out a large mouthful of blood, and her body floated back. Junior sister, hi. The youth from the Talisman Puppet sect supported the girl with a face full of worry. Hee, I said that you guys can't escape. Come with us obediently. The youth from the Heavenly Corpse sect stepped forward and sneered. The 4 youths from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect had already surrounded the 2 disciples from the Talisman Puppet sect. Don't even think about it. You guys captured the disciples of our Talisman Puppet sect just to help you guys break the array in the ruins. That array is extremely mysterious and dangerous. Even if we tried to break it, there is a high chance that we would die. The treasures that we obtain in the end would still belong to you guys. Don't even think about it. The girl from the Talisman Puppet sect was extremely unyielding as she berated loudly. Don't you guys understand? The only purpose of the Talisman Puppet sect in the Battle of Providence is to help us break the array in the ruins. Otherwise, we would have killed you the moment we saw you. Why would we have kept you alive until now? The youth in purple said coldly with a condescending look on his face. Kong Mingshang, if you want to kill me, just kill me. I'll help you break the array. After this one, there will be another one. I'll die sooner or later. Why don't you kill me now? The girl shouted coldly. Kong Mingshang was a genius from the Kong clan, one of the 6 great ancient families. He was ranked 198th on the list of top 1,000 talents, and was a true god-tier genius. You want to die? Not so easy. You're pretty and we can enjoy you. Let's see if you'll beg for mercy under my crotch. The youth from the Heavenly Corpse sect sneered as a trace of evil fire flashed in his eyes. This made the girl's face turn pale. Everyone, I hope I'm not disturbing you. Chapter 919. Tianyan, no Luming Zongzi. The 2 from the Talisman Puppet sect were pleasantly surprised when they saw Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you. Kong Mingshang, and the others were shocked when they saw Lu Ming. When Lu Ming was at the exchange meet, his combat power was already very terrifying. Kong Mingshang and the other 3 could not help but gather together, looking at Lu Ming with a grave expression. What? Do you think there's no one in the Talisman Puppet sect? Lu Ming's face turned cold, and a murderous look flashed across his eyes. There are 4 of us. We don't have to be afraid of him. Furthermore, our cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds during this period of time. Perhaps we have improved faster than Lu Ming. If we join forces, we will be able to kill him. Kong Mingshang's eyes flashed with a hint of viciousness and greed. He was very tempted to kill Lu Ming and be rewarded handsomely by the Wang family supreme martial artist. The other 3 were also tempted by Kong Mingshang's words. Lu Ming was strong in the past, but it did not mean that he would always be strong. They had improved greatly during this period of time, and did not believe that the 4 of them could not kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked at Kong Mingshang with a faint smile, and a hint of contempt flashed across his eyes. Let's attack together and kill him. Kong Mingshang growled. Kong Mingshang felt very uncomfortable when Lu Ming looked at him in such a way. He was a god-level genius ranked 198th on the list of top 1,000 talents. How could Lu Ming look at him with such contempt? Who was Lu Ming to him? Kill! The four of them roared and attacked Lu Ming at the same time. Dazzling saber gleams and majestic corpse aura shrouded Lu Ming. Zongzi, be careful! The two disciples from the Talisman Puppet sect exclaimed. There was a cold smile at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. He did not move, and merely took a step forward. Countless inscriptions spread out from under Lu Ming's feet, and a large formation appeared out of thin air. A flaming tiger appeared and roared at the sky. Kong Mingsheng and the others were shocked and their pupils constricted. He's a level 7 inscriber. This is a level 7 formation. No, please spare us. The four of them screamed in horror. The Talisman Puppet sect. But in the next moment, the flaming tiger pounced on them and tore them apart. Naturally, after killing the four people, Lu Ming's luck value increased again. The two disciples from the Talisman Puppet sect were dumbfounded. Lu Zongzi, you've become a level 7 inscriber? The young lady was overjoyed. The young geniuses of the Talisman Puppet sect knew that Lu Ming had lit up 10 spirit lamps for the first 5 levels. Later on, Lu Ming entered the observatory and lit up the spirit lamps for the 6th level. Given such a foundation, Lu Ming would definitely be very powerful when he broke through to become a level 7 inscription master. Naturally, they were happy. Lu Ming nodded and asked, "What's your name?" "Zongzi. I'm Hai Fei and he's Lu Guang," the young lady said. The two of them looked quite intimate and should be lovers. "I heard you guys say that the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect captured our Talisman Puppet sect's disciples to help them break the formations in the ruins. What exactly happened?" Lu Ming asked. "It's like this. The Heavenly Corpse sect, the Sky Demon Valley, and the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace discovered a huge ruin. However, the surroundings of the ruin were filled with formations. Those formations were incomparably powerful, and the half-baked Tao of inscription of the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace were unable to break them. Therefore, they set their sights on the disciples of our Talisman Puppet sect. The three of them joined forces to capture the disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect and help them break the formations." Hai Fei gritted her teeth. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a trace of sharpness. They were using the disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect as tools. Are there no experts from the Talisman Puppet sect to fight against them? Lu Ming asked. Hai Fei shook her head and said, "The 13 Zongzi candidates aren't here. Their opponents are too strong. Even if someone fights against them, it's a dead end." "That's right. I've heard that many talents from the 3 sects have gathered at the relic. Many of them are ranked in the top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents. The strongest ones are Little Demon Lord Luo Li, Li Firesword Brother Li Tian, Blood Sword 7 and Blood Sword 9 from the Heavenly Corpse sect, and 2 talents from the Sky Demon Valley, who are on par with Li Firesword and Little Demon Lord." Lu Guang added, "Little Demon Lord Brother Litian?" Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Among these people, Brother Litian ranked the highest on the list of top 1,000 talents, 51st, 10 ranks higher than Little Demon Lord Luo Li. Of course, it had been more than 4 years since the last update of the list of top 1,000 talents. Brother Litian's combat strength might not be stronger than Little Demon Lord's, but he was definitely not to be underestimated. "Where's the ruin?" Lu Ming asked. "Zongzi, do you want to go? But they're so strong." Hai Fei was a little worried. "Why? Are you scared? If you're scared, tell me the address and I'll go alone." Lu Ming said. He would take control of the Talisman Puppet sect sooner or later. In his opinion, these geniuses of the Talisman Puppet sect would become the pillars of the Talisman Puppet sect in the future and become powerful helpers. How could he let them die here? Lu Ming was definitely going to save them. Also, it was time to settle the score with Little Demon Lord for wasting so many puppets. "No, I'm not scared. If Zongzi wants to go, I'll go with him." "Lu Guang, what about you?" Hai Fei gritted her teeth and then looked at Lu Guang. "If you're going, I'm going too." Lu Guang's resolute gaze warmed Hai Fei's heart. "Haha, good. Lead the way." Let's go together, Lu Ming said with a smile. The three of them immediately cut through the void and headed toward the ruin that Hai Fei had mentioned. There was a huge ruin hundreds of thousands of miles away from Lu Ming and the others. It was a group of palaces that looked very ancient. Some places were already in ruins. The palace complex was surrounded by formations. All kinds of killing formations, illusions, and reality overlapped. It was very dangerous. This place was first discovered by the geniuses of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect. However, they couldn't enter at all, and even lost many of their men in the arrays. In the end, they could only gather the nearby geniuses to break the arrays. In the end, more and more geniuses came. In the end, even the geniuses of the Sky Demon Valley joined in. However, they discovered that if they were to forcefully break through these formations, it was too difficult. Even if they were able to break through, it was unknown when they would be able to do so. Thus, they started to target the disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect, and went everywhere to capture disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect. Outside the ruin, the geniuses of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the Sky Demon Valley numbered more than 300. They surrounded the dozen or so disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect in the middle. All right, we've rested enough. Let's go and continue to break the arrays. Little Demon Lord Luo Li glared at the people of the Talisman Puppet sect. Don't even think about it. If you want to break the arrays, you can do it yourselves. We won't go again. In the past 3 days, we've already lost 6 of our senior and junior brothers trying to break the arrays. A clear voice rang out. Chapter 920. Not going? Sure, I'll kill all of you now. And you're as beautiful as a fairy. I don't mind giving you a good time. The little demon lord's eyes were filled with evil fire as he stared at Bai Qi Shui. If it weren't for the fact that there were people from the Sky Corpse sect and Sky Demon Valley here, he would have killed Bai Qi Shui on the spot. Bai Qi Shui's face turned pale when she saw the little demon lord's evil eyes. She didn't dare to make a sound. You and you. The few of you go ahead and break the array. The little demon lord pointed at 5 of them and said coldly. The 5 of them sighed with ugly expressions. They had no choice but to break the array. If they did, they might have a chance to live. If they didn't, they would be killed. Previously, 2 disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect had offended the little demon lord and had been cruelly killed by him. Who didn't know that the big and little demon lords of the Sky Emperor Divine Palace were cruel and merciless? The 5 disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect walked into the ruins, while the 3 factions of the Sky Emperor Divine Palace watched them closely. After a while, light began to shine inside. The disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect had started to break the array. But not long after, a scream was heard. What's going on? The little demon lord's voice spread far and wide. A disciple of the Talisman Puppet sect broke the array and was killed. A disciple of the Sky Emperor Divine Palace came to report. What trash? The little demon lord shouted coldly. Bai Qi Shui and the other disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect looked miserable. Among the 4 factions, the Talisman Puppet sect was the weakest. Now that the other 3 factions had joined forces to deal with them, they had no power to resist. These disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect are too weak. I'm afraid it'll be difficult for them to break the array. A youth in blood-red clothes, and carrying a blood-red sword said coldly from the Sky Corpse sect. His name was 7th Blood Sword, and he was ranked higher than the little demon lord on the list of top 1,000 talents. That's right. If we catch one of the 13 Zongzi candidates from the Talisman Puppet sect, our chances of breaking the array will be greatly increased. A genius from the Sky Demon Valley licked his lips. I wonder where those fellows are. I haven't seen a single one of them in the past few days. 7th Blood Sword said. That's right. The others nodded in agreement. As for the Talisman Puppet sect disciple that was killed while dealing with the formation, they didn't care at all. Moreover, they felt that the disciple was a piece of trash that couldn't even deal with the formation. While they were chatting, their expressions suddenly changed as they looked towards the eastern sky. 3 rainbow-colored lights flew over. The rainbow-colored lights dispersed, revealing 3 figures. It was Lu Ming, Hai Fei, and Lu Guang. Lu Ming, It's you bastard. Little demon Lord Luo Li was the first to speak, his eyes full of anger. Last time, he was actually injured by Lu Ming's puppet explosion. He wanted nothing more than to pull out Lu Ming's tendons and peel off his bones. He never thought that Lu Ming would suddenly appear here. Lu Ming, it's him and 2 other talisman puppet sect disciples. Haha, someone actually delivered himself to my doorstep. The others cried out. This was especially so for the sky prides of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace and the Sky Demon Valley. When they looked at Lu Ming, their eyes were burning with passion. There was a huge reward for killing Lu Ming. Lu Ming, why are you here? Hurry up and leave. They want to capture our talisman puppet sect disciples to help them break the array. Hurry up and leave. Upon seeing Lu Ming, Bai Qi Snow shouted anxiously. There were too many sky prides from the 3 forces here, and they were too strong. No matter how powerful Lu Ming was, he was no match for them. Lu Ming smiled at Bai Qi Snow. He scanned the surroundings, and killing intent flashed across his eyes. Swoosh, swoosh. In a flash, the sky prides of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace and the Sky Demon Valley moved. They appeared around Lu Ming, vaguely cutting off his escape route. Lu Ming, let's see where you can run this time. If I don't peel off your skin and pull out your tendons, my name is not Luo Li. Little Demon Lord looked coldly at Lu Ming. Don't you want to break the array here? Let me help you break it. Lu Ming glanced at Little Demon Lord indifferently and said, You can break it. Bloodsword 7's eyes lit up. Lu Ming stretched out his palm, and a ball of purple mind fire jumped in Lu Ming's palm. 7th grade inscription master. Even more people's eyes lit up. How about it? I can help you break the array, but I have a condition. Let go of the other talisman puppet sect disciples. Lu Ming said loudly. Let them go. Impossible. Lu Ming, what right do you have to negotiate with us? Little Demon Lord said coldly. Haha, that's right. This Lu Ming is really an idiot. He actually delivered himself to us. Just as well. After we capture you, you will have to obediently help us break the array. A young man to the right of Lu Ming sneered. This young man was called Quan Fei, and he was also a peerless genius of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. He was ranked 109 on the list of top 1,000 talents, and his cultivation had reached the peak of the 1st level of Spirit Embryo Realm. He was extremely powerful, and even though Lu Ming was a 7th grade inscription master, he was not afraid at all. He strode forward and closed in on Lu Ming. Obediently surrender and break the array for us. Quan Fei sneered and strode forward, striking a palm at Lu Ming. This palm was extremely powerful, and the enormous palm energy locked onto Lu Ming from all directions. Lu Ming turned and looked coldly at him. Scram! Suddenly, Lu Ming roared and took a step forward. Boom! The earth rumbled as Quan Fei's palm energy collapsed. Then Lu Ming slapped out. Smack! A slap landed on Quan Fei's face, causing him to cry out in pain. His body flew thousands of meters away like a broken sack, before crashing into the ground. He lay on the ground, continuously twitching. His gasps could be heard as everyone looked at Lu Ming in shock. One slap had sent Quan Fei, who was at the peak of the 1st level of Spirit Embryo Realm, flying. How could Lu Ming's battle power be so strong? Although Quan Fei had been careless and did not use bloodline fusion, Lu Ming's battle power was still extremely terrifying. How dare you injure a genius of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? I'll cripple you now. Little Demon King was furious, and his demonic aura surged into the sky. He took a step forward and rushed towards Lu Ming. He slashed his palm in the air, and a terrifying blade light slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold, and he was not afraid at all. He exploded with a burst of dragon power, and a layer of scales covered his body as he punched forward. Boom! The fist light and the blade light clashed, and there was a violent explosion. Lu Ming and Little Demon King both took 3 steps back. Impossible! Little Demon King roared, and his voice was filled with disbelief. He had never expected Lu Ming to be able to push him back in one move, although he had not used his full strength in the previous attack. 4th level of Spirit Embryo Realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Little Demon King Luo Li was stronger than before. He had broken through to the 4th level of Spirit Embryo Realm, which was 2 levels higher than Lu Ming's current level. However, so what if it was 2 levels higher? Lu Ming was still confident. Around him, Blood Sword 7, Blood Sword 9, Distant Fire Sword Brother Distant Heaven, and the geniuses of Sky Demon Valley all had grave expressions. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.